Thank you. Wow, what an amazing turnout, what an amazing group.
Yeah.
I have a few thanks to give and then I have a few remarks. I first of all really want to thank all of you. This is really exciting for Freedom to Marry. We're stepping forward as the national campaign to win marriage throughout the country. We believe the job is not done until we have ended this exclusion throughout the United States. Here in New York, we have the opportunity to put New York in the leadership, but this is a national campaign to hold our nation to its promise that everyone has the right to be both equal and different, and no one should have to give up her or his difference in order to be treated equally under the law. And by coming here tonight and making the first of what we hope will be many contributions of time, of treasure, of talent, and participation, you are helping build this campaign to get this job done, not just in New York, but throughout the country. And I really want to thank the co-hosts who worked so hard to get you here and to get you engaged with this Freedom to Marry campaign. I want to thank the Freedom to Marry staff, many of whom are here tonight. Several of them are actually on the ground in some of the battleground states, but those who are not are here tonight supporting the work, supporting you, helping build this campaign, and I appreciate each and every one of them. I appreciate our New York board members who are here tonight, Fred Garcia and Brondi Borer, who have helped build this organization from a small internal movement strategy center to the campaign, to work with all the partners, to work with all the pieces, to stick with the work in all 50 states and in Washington, D.C. until we have put America back where it needs to be, leading human rights, not lagging. And I want to give a special thank you to Chris Hughes and Sean Eldred. And please join me in thanking them. Chris and Sean, too, have given not just of their treasure, not just of their space and hospitality, but of their time and energy and talent to get this work done, to say to young people around the country that ours is a country that can change, can evolve, that ours is a country that can be held to its promise, and that ours is a country that owes a promise to each and every one of us, and we're going to make it happen. And I am particularly grateful that Sean, as political director of Freedom to Marry, is not only being a generous host and a generous supporter of many of our organizations, but a on-the-ground key thinker and strategist in figuring out how we build this campaign that you are helping build tonight. Now, when I say it's a campaign because Freedom to Marry has a strategy. The strategy is for winning marriage nationwide. It is not just about the pieces of work we do, because we know that this is too big a social justice cause. It's too big a country. It's too big a community. It's too many people affected to have any one organization do it all. And yet, we have to focus not just on the pieces we're doing, but on how we bring everything together in a sustained affirmative campaign to stick with it and get the job done. Freedom to Marry's strategy on our website is called the Roadmap to Victory. The Roadmap to Victory has 3 tracks, 3 elements of work and achievement that must be done together to get the job done, because they reinforce each other and because that's how social justice movements succeed in our fractious, challenging, and hopeful country. The 3 tracks of work in the roadmap are to win more states, to grow the majority of marriage, and by the way, it was last year that we first attained a majority of marriage nationwide in this country, going from 26% when Congress was debating the Hawaii case and the anti-gay so-called Defense of Marriage Act less than 15 years ago, to now 26% going to 52% of Americans nationwide. We did that. And so we're going to create that critical mass of states by winning more states. We're going to grow that majority for marriage, and we're going to tackle and end the federal marriage discrimination that says that even when couples are legally married in the states that have ended this cruel exclusion, they're still going to be treated as second-class citizens and burdened and ignored by the federal government. And by working all these 3 pieces together, Freedom to Marry, the campaign, and the partner organizations, and each one of us working together as part of this campaign, we're going to get to victory. I'll say a couple things about what we're doing in each of these tracks so that you understand what the contributions you've made today are for, and you understand why we need more. And then we'll go back to celebrating and then tomorrow get back to work. In these 3 tracks of victory, 3 tracks of the roadmap, to win more states, we have several states this year that we, if we do our work right and get lucky, can bring to the freedom to marry. They're Rhode Island, they're Maryland, they're California, and they are, of course, our own New York. Freedom to Marry staff has been on the ground in all 3 of those states, working with partners, mobilizing people through our expanded new media outreach, and preparing to engage people in the legislative battles that are necessary, including right here in New York, to win these states. It is only by having some states move forward that we bring the rest of the country along. New York, Rhode Island, Maryland, California, these are the ones to invest in, build in. Freedom to Marry is on the ground. Help us make it happen together with the others who are working on it. In the work of growing the majority for marriage, persuading that next chunk of the American people, growing that 52% to 55% to 58%, and diversifying it so it's across every demographic, in every community, throughout the country, that it's racial and ethnic and age and class diverse. Our task is to persuade that next chunk of people who are not yet with us but who are ready to be fair to understand why marriage matters. And so this year, having spent all of last year crunching 85 data sets from campaigns from Maine to California, and battle after battle after battle that many of you have been involved in as we've moved this cause forward, Freedom to Marry is now ready. We believe we have cracked the code on the language, the messages, the messengers, and the time it will take to engage people and move them along, and we want to put that campaign forward. It's called Why Marriage Matters. We've offered it to state partners around the country. We've offered it to non-gay allies. We would like to roll it out. This year, ideally, we'd love to see a $1.5 million ad buy throughout the country to get this message out to people and to create the climate that encourages people to have the personal conversations and to tell their own stories, gay people speaking about our families, our lives, and why marriage matters, non-gay people talking about justice and fairness and why they care about their country and gay people and full equality. We can put forward that $1.5 million campaign, and we can make it a $3 to $10 million campaign over the next 3 years to bump those numbers up from 52 to 55 to 58%. With your help. And in the area of ending federal marriage discrimination, Freedom to Marry this year will be launching a federal presence. We will be putting down our feet in Washington, D.C. alongside the many organizations that weave in and out of this work and have taken important pieces, but we will say there's going to be a focused, clear, sustained, spearheaded campaign to elevate that conversation about why marriage matters in Washington, creating the climate, increasing the numbers in Congress, helping the president on his journey to marriage and support, a journey he's on his way on, and we're going to get him there, and creating the climate that will enable the Supreme Court of the United States, including Justice Kennedy, to understand that history will vindicate them if they do the right thing, should any of the federal litigation that's now bubbling up around the country make it to that Supreme Court, and the clock is ticking on those cases. We feel that urgency. We are not looking anymore to say who else is going to do this. We're committed to doing it with everyone who wants to help. Will you help? Yes. Will you help? Yes. Better, will you help? Yes. Okay, so that's the campaign. That's the campaign. With elected officials who are the future of this country, like the friends we've had here speak here today, with people like Laura Bush, Glenn Beck, and others who have spoken out in support of the Freedom to Marry, Laura Bush, Bill Clinton, and many of the people who have raised their voices on our side. This is where the country's going. President Obama's on that journey. We're going to help them along. We ask you for your support. Your support today was very important to Freedom to Marry. You clearly have broken the numbers that we had set for this event, which meant that we didn't reach high enough, and we're going to keep reaching. There are Freedom to Marry staff here. Any one of us would be more than happy to talk with you, either tonight or afterwards. Please help us build this campaign, make it win, help us win New York, together with groups like the Pride Agenda, whose executive director is here today, and help us win in Maryland and Rhode Island, and move this country forward, so that together we can all say to the next generation, the generation that's part of our work and also watching what we're doing, that we did our part, we held our country to its promise, and we won and made the world a better place. Thank you all very much for your support.